Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we're going to be working from what will probably be the first recipe in this book that you guys see. We're going to be making herb roasted salmon from Teresa Carle-Sanders' Outlander Kitchen 2 cookbook. So it's the second one in the series. And we've started another recipe today, but that won't be ready for quite a while. It's a preserve type recipe. So you'll see that later. This is a very simple salmon recipe. My family loves salmon, as I've said many times. So it was a no-brainer for me to make this. And I've made something kind of similar for quite a while, but this one, you start it by making an herbed butter. Oh, it also says to use a fork. So let me go get a fork. I have some butter in here. This is unsalted butter because we're going to add salt to it. I didn't want it to be too salty. So to this, we're going to add some salt. We're going to add some pepper. I'm not going to measure this. I rarely measure pepper. That looks good to me. We're going to put in some scallion. So this is just green onion, finely chopped, she says, basically a mince. This is quite a bit of it, but it is what it is. Just the white and light green parts though. We're going to put in some lemon zest. I've used the rest of this lemon. I've just cut it up into wedges to use, at the table and for garnish. So those are done. Parsley. Yes, this is the parsley. So I'm going to measure this because I didn't measure it before. And any bits that I don't use, I might just scatter on top to make it pretty. We have some basil. These are all just kind of minced. My basil is not doing great right now. It's a little bit late. It's in the season. I should have harvested and made a ton of pesto already, but I didn't. So I'll have to do that. And the last ingredient is some capers. Mine were a little mushy, but those were also supposed to be chopped, so I don't think it'll matter all that much. And now we're just supposed to use this fork to sort of combine it all together. It's a lot of stuff to combine into this little bit of butter. It kind of comes together. I think the butter is really just a vehicle for the herbs and the capers and all of that, to make it all spreadable and mix it all together. I think that is good. So I'm going to clean this up and be back with my salmon. Okay, here's my salmon. This is supposed to be skin on salmon, but this is not skin on salmon, so it's okay. It is what I had available to me, so it'll be fine. And we're just going to spread this herbed butter evenly over the salmon. So I might need to get my offset spatula, but we will see. It's not spreading great with this. This is not spreading very well, and it doesn't seem to be quite enough, in my opinion. Not super happy with this. I mean, it's gonna melt, so I just have to get it relatively like on everything, because that is, and this is actually a little bit smaller than she calls for, so I don't know how. This is meant to cover the whole gosh darn thing, and I measured all those green herbs, so It shouldn't be too many for the amount of butter that the recipe calls for. This is not great. This doesn't work very well, in my opinion. All right, well, oh look, there's a bone right there. That's great. Guess I will be using the tools at my disposal. So maybe I should have dried my salmon a little bit, but too late for that now. All right, I'm gonna make sure it is up here where all the meat is and assume that at least some will melt down onto the other parts of the salmon because of, you know, heat and gravity. We'll just have to call that good. I think any more that I do is not going to help here. So we're going to call that good. And I'm going to wash my hands. So the other big part about this recipe is the heat in the oven is only at 275 degrees. So this is going to be low and slow kind of cook. And I've put a pan of water on the bottom of the oven, on the lowest rung rack of the oven. And we're going to put this above that in the middle. So 275 degrees for, she says 40 to 45 minutes. So we'll show you what it looks like in 40 to 45 minutes. It's just going right into the oven, just like this. All right, it has been 40 minutes at 275 degrees, and now we're supposed to test to see if it is flaky. I think we're going for a fully done kind of fish here. I guess it flakes. Yeah, it flakes pretty well. All right, I'm gonna put it back in the oven for about 5 minutes, basically just to keep warm while I finish up the rest of our dinner. And we will let you know what we think after that. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make herb roasted salmon from Teresa Carle-Sanders' second Outlander Kitchen cookbook. I think this is probably the first recipe that you will see from this book. So, and as you can see, I have several marked that I want to cook. So I'm excited about cooking from this book, and this recipe worked out pretty well. It was a little difficult to spread the butter, the kind of softened butter on the cold salmon, just with all the herbs, just did not spread all that well. It was okay. The herbs did kind of stay on the fish where the butter was, but it is what it is. It tasted really good. And it's probably best if you like your salmon pretty done, because this is definitely you cook it low and slow for a long time until it is like fully cooked. So it was, I mean, it tasted great. We do prefer our salmon usually on the, sort of a little bit less done. Not rare really, but on the rarer side of done. So, but we really liked it. We had some left over. It reheated fine. I don't think you really need the skin on it. So if it's hard for you to find the skin on salmon, this works. This sort of recipe works well for that type of fish, in my experience, because that's what we had. And with skin, I really like to get it nice and crispy, which this recipe wouldn't do. So yeah, particularly if you like your salmon done, fully cooked, you should try this recipe. And if you've enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends, and let me know what you think if you try it in the comments down below. Come back and watch me make something else next week.